Hey everybody, welcome back to another review. Today I have a retro review, and he comes in the form of the mighty Chewbacca from the Power of the Force line. So always an exciting wave of figures to review because they are very unique, and it was the time before they really narrowed, honed in on how to make action figures look realistic in a way, and so you come out with some sort of derpy figures, I think. That being said, they have a special place in all of our hearts, for me especially with Chewbacca, because I love Chewbacca, and I actually don't have this figure, obviously, which is why I'm reviewing it. I went to several stores that had older figures a little bit past when I started collecting, and I never saw a Chewbacca, so really happy to be able to review this one for you guys. This is from the, they call it like the yellow or the orange card back. The original Power of the Force line, they did a Power of the Force 2 with the green back that I've also reviewed, but you have a really nice rounded Power of the Force looking Darth Vader's helmet on the side, and this Star Wars Power of the Force here. Picture of Chewbacca with heavy bowcaster and blaster rifle, because they like to describe the accessories. And then of course you have the figure, which is probably kind of reflective, but on the back you have the Chewbacca, I guess, fact file card, which you could cut out, and they have the name stuck up here, so you could like put this in probably like an old recipe box where your mom would like keep recipes written down on note cards. You could store it in there, and then you'd have all your figures and you could sort through them with these little tabs. It's actually a pretty good idea, especially, before the internet, and, you didn't have a whole bunch of places to like look for things, so you could just, have your own little Star Wars fact file, which I think is really cool. I like that idea. This is something that has always interested me as a child. I was always really taken by the cardboard things and the informational strips in items. I love to read them and reread them, and so had I been collecting initially when these came out and had them all, I probably would have had a little box for them, and been able to sort through them and look for them. Below that you can see the wave. This was, I think, the first Power of the Force wave, to be honest, 1995, but you've got all the original trilogy figures like the main guys, so other than really Stormtrooper and Darth Vader are the only bad guys, but yeah, it's like pretty much it, other than Princess Leia. She was a monstrosity during this period. And then you also have some ships, which is really cool. So the information on the back is pretty handy-dandy. Star Wars Fan Club, of course, and this figure initially came from FAO Schwartz for $8. So, which I don't know when this was purchased initially, but $8 is also kind of high still. I don't know. I remember buying figures for $5, so FAO Schwartz might just upcharge. I don't know. So let's go ahead and break into this Chewbacca for a review. Alrighty, here's Chewbacca out of the package. One of his accessories did come pre-posed on his arm. It's this heavy blaster rifle, and he also has a bowcaster. So I'll show you these guys first before we get into the figure. During Power of the Force, they love to do heavy weapons, very bulky, heavy guns and rifles. This was during the time when all these action figures were posed kind of like superheroes. Like, they were really meaty, and they kind of like stuck out like this, and they all had tons of weapons because they were really trying to, keep the interest of people, of little kids at the time. Obviously, these weren't tailored to really girl collectors either. They just wanted to make them like meaty and superhero-y, because before that, the only thing we had was the original vintage figures, and those were all skinny. So I think Hasbro was trying to bring something new to the table with these figures. Yeah, over time they definitely show their age, but you do get a giant heavy gun there, and then of course a bowcaster that does not look particularly accurate to me. It's molded a little odd for my liking. I feel like they took a couple creative liberties here, but yeah. All painted and cast in like this kind of gunmetal color. So there's that. But this is what I mean by the figure being kind of like, bulky and stuff. So this is Chewbacca right here, and he's Power of the Force, that's for sure. So this is going to be the first Chewbacca that people are going to get after the original vintage collection Chewbacca. So there is a huge change between the two, and maybe not for the better. This Chewbacca is not particularly accurate. I think there's something going on with his head sculpt that looks really, really weird to me. They get the, eyes, nose, and mouth fine, but I don't know, maybe it's the way the fur is sculpted, and maybe it's his body, but they, don't make him hairy enough. He kind of just looks like a man in a hairy bodysuit. But not they didn't sculpt the fur. It was fine with the original vintage Chewbacca, but the other ones that they've done since, I'm pretty sure that they've done more sculpting of the fur, so it looks a little bit more realistic. Something with the head sculpt and the body together just doesn't really match for me. But he does have his little bandolier, and it is sculpted onto his body, and he goes into his little satchel on the side. He just looks like a man, a hairy man to me, rather than an alien, rather than a Wookiee. But, yep, so there's the back of him. The coloring is also a little odd for me. They kind of got it, I guess. It has like, the darker brown is really gray to me. I don't know, it's kind of like almost Chewbacca to me. Of course it is an actual, you know, Chewbacca figure, but there's just something a little off-brand to me, if you get what I mean. And that wasn't uncommon for this line of Power of the Force. They just, moving into a new company, you know, Hasbro started making the figures, and they were fine for the time, I think, some of them, and then other ones were a little bit of a miss, like Leia, who looks like an ape. But I remember I did have her originally. I still have her, but yeah, this Chewbacca goes right along with it, literally, because he's kind of a space monkey. But he's 1995, Kenner, printed on there back before, you know, right when Hasbro bought him, and they printed out Kenner for the first year, and then switched to their own brand. But yeah, he holds his weapons. He has both of those like little grippy fists, and it's going to be kind of an annoyance to work in there. There we go. Yeah, so he can hold his little bowcaster, and he can also hold his little heavy rifle gun, which I think goes like that. Just like that. So looky there, he's loaded up. He is a super soldier Wookiee at this point. But anyways, guys, yep, that was pretty much this guy. I like that he's a Chewbacca, but I think he misses the mark for being a Chewbacca. Of course, you know, it is the time period. But let me know what you guys think of this figure in the comments below. And as always, have a fantastic day, and thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.